Professor Kevin and the other students were shocked by Frey's answer. They all did not expect that Frey could answer all the questions from Professor Kevin. Professor Kevin still did not believe that Frey, the worst trainee, could answer all the questions. The break bell rang and it was time for lunch. Frey felt that answering all the quizzes made him hungry. Frey immediately ran to the cafeteria, leaving Professor Kevin, who was still full of wonder. When Frey went to the cafeteria, Isabel asked Frey if he's going to have lunch. But Frey ignored Isabel. Isabel was not angry. She continued to follow Frey to the cafeteria. In the cafeteria, Isabel was shocked by the amount of food that Frey took and asked if all this was for herself to eat. Frey replied, "Yes, I will eat this myself. Do you know what it feels like to be hungry for 4,000 years? Isabel was just shocked to hear Frey's answer. Frey asked, "Why do you keep following me?" Isabel replied, "Don't misunderstand. I'm sitting here because there are no empty seats." Isabel then asked, "Do you know about the light ages?" Frey looked confused by Isabel's question. Isabel explained that the light age was where 4,000 years ago, there were 4 great masters still active, and it was the heyday of magecraft. Realizing Isabel's question, it was the time when Lucas Traumen and 4 others fought the demigods, because for 4,000 years, magecraft was regressed due to the actions of the demigods who ruled the world behind the scenes. The 4 great masters of magecrafts in history are the magic warrior King Cassigen, the great sage Schweitzer Wilsman, the black witch Iris Visfounder, and the strongest mage Lucas Traumen. Lucas is a great person. If he were still alive, I would ask him to marry me. Frey was shocked by Isabel's words. He laughed, because a child like Isabel thought about marriage. Isabel was annoyed because Frey considered her a kid. "I'm an adult," said Isabel. But in the distance, a pair of eyes full of hatred saw the closeness of Isabel and Frey. That's David. The man who usually bothers Frey looks annoyed with what happened between the two of them. Isabel then discusses Schweitzer training, where she practices assimilation and amplification. Isabel also asks Frey to teach her the battling method. Frey asks, "What stage is she at now?" "I am competent 3-star," said Isabel. Frey also praised Isabel if she was quite talented, because she was already at stage 3 at a fairly young age. Frey said that he had lived long enough and was not the same age as Isabel. Lucas finished his lunch and left Isabel at the dining table. Isabel continued to force Frey to teach her the battling method, but Frey told her to just learn from books. Isabel did not want to be able to read, but from experience. The students gathered in the battle training arena. There was David sitting with full of annoyance because he saw Isabel and Frey getting closer. There was a professor explaining the battle rules. They were only allowed to use 1-star magic spell. Because this was a real battle, injuries will be held your own responsible. Frey was silent when he saw Professor Jane explaining the battle rules. Frey said that Professor Jane is gorgeous. It is natural for Frey or Lucas to like adult women, because when Lucas was in the prison of darkness, Lucas was around 30 years old, so adult women like Professor Jane are Lucas type. Frey and David did their first sparring match. David tried to talk to Frey, but Frey ignored him and just walked. Then got to know Professor Jane in an extraordinary way. Frey even immediately invited Professor Jane to dinner. Embarrassedly, Professor Jane refused, but Frey did not give up. He said if he won today's match, would Jane be willing to have dinner with him? The other students were shocked and the boys looked jealous because Frey was flirting Professor Jane. Professor Jane doubted that Frey could win because Frey could only spell 1-star, while David was already at stage 3-star. But Professor Jane agreed dinner with Frey if he could beat David. Frey said that's a promise with a smile. Professor Jane looked embarrassed. Frey stepped forward and faced David. David said, "Are you crazy to Frey? Because you flirting Professor Jane?" But Frey didn't care about David. David still felt that he could beat Frey easily. But once again, Frey didn't care about David's words. Frey instead chose to pick his nose rather than listen to David. David threatened if today was the last day Frey could walk normally. It seemed that David had planned something bad for Frey, because David felt that he was much stronger than Frey. The fight began. David used Stone Rage to attack Frey. Everyone was shocked. Even Isabel protested because David used a spell that was too strong. But Professor Jane let it be because David did not break the rules. Proud of the strong spell that was the pride of his family, David attacked Frey with his Stone Rage, but Frey was not impressed and took out a magic missile, a small round magic that shine. David just laughed at Frey's small spell, but with a snap of his fingers, the magic missile destroyed David's Stone Rage and threw David back. David fainted, lying down and foaming at the mouth. Everyone there was shocked by Frey's abilities. They still couldn't believe that Frey the coward was able to defeat David with just a weak spell. David was in pain and crying. He realized that his voice was gone. Frey approached him and said, "Do you still want to threaten me and make me paralyzed?" David was scared and begged Frey, but Frey took out his magic missile and broke David's leg. David could only be in pain and beg for mercy. Frey continued to intimidate David. This was not just training but also revenge on David, because Friar Lucas knew that David was one of the people who bullied Frey and made Frey frustrated and chose to commit suicide. Isabel, who saw this fight, asked Professor Jane to stop the fight, because it was clear that Frey was the winner. Professor Jean did not budge, because she knew that in a real fight there was no word of mercy. It's the road to becoming a mage. Frey keeps mocking David, because David used to bully him. People like David feel great and call themselves magicians, and Frey hopes that David can't use magic for the rest of his life. Frey keeps toying with David and says that he will also cripple his other leg. David screams hysterically and the match is over. In the audience there are two students who are watching Frey's abilities, but it seems they are only interested in Frey, and just leave when the match ends. All the students at the academy are shocked to hear that the cowardly Frey can win against David, even though they say that David is an asshole. Because David often bullies students who he considers weaker than him, maybe this is karma for him. The students start to pay attention to Frey now. When Frey walks, a man stops him and asks if you are Frey Blake. This man is named Dolan Mylist, a fourth-year student. In other words, he is Frey's upperclassman. Dolan invites Frey to join the Traumen Rings group, a secret group in the school academy. Some students join the Traumen Ring. Not all students can join because to become part of the Traumen Ring group, they are selected personally. Frey is a little annoyed because they use the Traumen name without permission from Lucas Traumen. Dolan continues, if Frey joins the Traumen Rings, he can choose any job when he graduates from the academy. However, it seems that Frey is not interested in Dolan's invitation. Frey leaves Dolan, but Dolan insists that Frey will regret if he refuses his invitation. A man behind Dolan tells him to stop forcing Frey to join. The man is named Peruin June. He is highly respected by Dolan. Dolan even greets Peruin. Peruin introduces himself as the manager at Traumen Ring. Peruin apologizes for Dolan's treatment of Frey. Peruin also tries to invite Frey to join Traumen Rings. Frey only pays attention to Peruin because Peruin looks impressive for someone his age. Frey still refuses to join and says that he doesn't want copyright from his name. Dolan screams in annoyance, but with one sharp look, Peruin gives him a warning. The scene changes where Frey and Professor Jane are having dinner at a restaurant. They are having dinner together because Frey managed to defeat David. But there is something that makes Frey upset, because Isabel insists on joining them for dinner. Frey even throws her out because she has disturbed his beautiful dinner. Isabel does this because Frey refuses to train her in battling, so why should she listen to his orders if he doesn't teach her? Professor Jane says you are talking about King Cassian battling. Isabel is surprised that Professor Jane also knows about Cassian battling, but Professor Jane has looked for evidence, but she never found it. Professor Jane is also curious about Cassian battling. Frey stood up and hugged Jane from behind and said, I can teach you something more interesting. Jane could only be silent and let Frey get closer, when they were both about to kiss. But suddenly Isabel hit the table and said stop acting so shamefully towards the professor. They were both shocked. It turned out that Isabel was still with them at the dining table. Dinner was over, and Frey was pensive on the side of the river, thinking why, after 4,000 years, information about Cassian, Schweitzer, Iris and herself had been completely dissorted. Isabel came to accompany Frey. Frey asked who was the strongest among the trainers and the strongest among the professors. Isabel said, Peruin June is the strongest among the trainees. Professor Dio Pulsman and Professor Adela are the strongest among the professors, and the strongest among them all is my aunt, Lady Cirrus Trisnan. Professor Jane said, if Cirrus is a 6-star mage, who has received the title of ice synthesis from the Empire. Frey asked, isn't a mage stage can theoretically go up to 9-star? But the last person reached that stage was from 3,000 years ago, said Professor Jane. There is still debate whether a mage can reach stage 8 or more. There are less than 10 people in the world who have reached stage 8. So, reaching stage 9 is a legend. I think the person who gave the spell to protect the academy is one of those legends, said Professor Jane. Frey also felt that if he had to meet Lady Cirrus, Frey wanted to reach stage 7 at least. Professor Jane and Isabel were shocked by Frey's words. It will take 10 years if it's fast, or maybe 20 years to reach it, said Professor Jane. Well, if I work hard, I will reach it when the academy holiday is over. You might be able to reach it someday. It's good to dream big and high. Frey looked at Jane and hugged her while saying, My dream isn't the only big thing, my love is huge as well. Will you check it for me? Jane was embarrassed and felt that it was inappropriate for her to do it with her student. Isabel reminded them both that she was still there. Isabel threatened that if Frey continued to tease Professor Jane, she would tell her aunt. Frey looked annoyed by Isabel's threat. Frey calmed himself down again and told himself not to rush. When he looked at the moon from the side of the river, he realized that there was a faster way to stage 7-star Mage. 2 weeks later, David came to class with anger. He cursed Frey for hurting his leg. He threatened Frey and said that he had told all the boys to. Before he finished saying his threat, Frey, who was reading calmly, hit David's face with a magic missile. David fainted for the second time. David was taken to his family to heal his broken nose. Frey felt that the students should focus on studying, because they were students from the prestigious Westwood Academy. When Frey walked, a man called him White-Haired Dude. It seemed that he was David's messenger, who was assigned to beat Frey. He invited Frey to a room. In the room there were already many people waiting and going to beat Frey. This big man said his name was Alex Drimid. He was upper-class Frey. Alex threatened, I can destroy a brat like you with a single scratch. Alex asked what he did to David. You hurt David's leg and nose, right? Frey is annoying because he knows that they will bully him. Alex feels that Frey is rude because he doesn't respect him. And Frey also yawns when Alex speaks. Running out of patience, Alex starts hitting Frey, but Frey's magic missile makes Alex fly and hits several other students in the room. Seeing Alex lying on the floor, the other students start attacking Frey. They even say their names and families before attacking Frey. But unfortunately, Frey's magic missile is too strong for a group of cockroaches like them. Frey feels worthless fighting these stupid kids. Frey returns to class and feels bored. Isabel approaches him and says, What are you doing right now? Frey wakes up. Isabel, who is next to him, says, After the students know that he defeated the bullies with magic missile. The students now give Frey the nickname Death Missile. Frey feels that it is an embarrassing nickname. Frey is still annoyed because his chance to get stronger seems to be gone, because he can only use the magic missile spell. Isabel felt that Frey's behavior was very cute, and Isabel blushed when she saw Frey's face. Isabel suggested that she use a potion from troll blood to increase efficiency. The idea is to use magic essence in a proper proportion. In return for Isabel's advice, Isabel asked if Frey would teach her now. Frey felt that Isabel was a talented kid. It seemed like Isabel would reach 7 or 8-star Mage if she trained properly. Frey promised to teach Isabel battling, but this training was very hard, and it would be a difficult journey. Without thinking, Isabel agreed and would go with Frey. Frey was surprised by Isabel's answer.